Hi there, Laura. It's nice to see that you're still writing essays, you're continuing your practice, so great job. I know your exam is coming up. I read a little bit on the emails you've been sending, so I apologize that I've been away, but I'd like to get this set to you as soon as possible, so here we go. Okay, because of modern technology, some people believe that it is no longer necessary for people to learn handwriting skills, but others believe that handwriting is still an important skill. Discuss both views. Okay, so two views and your opinion. It's no longer necessary and it's still important. So let's see what you said about this. In recent years, developments in technology have allowed people to communicate in much more easier ways, and this is the case for handwriting, a traditional skill that some people believe is unnecessary. Personally, I strongly disagree with this point of view. Okay, the good thing is that you rephrased both views and you gave your position. That's very important, as we've talked about in the past. That's good. My concern with this paragraph is that it's just one sentence. So you can't really have a paragraph with just one sentence. So I would like to see you split this up into at least two sentences. It could be three. That would be very nice as well. But definitely not one sentence. You should never have a one sentence paragraph. So let's look at it again and see what you could have done here. In recent years, developments in technology have allowed people to communicate in much easier ways. You don't want to say much more easier because that's redundant. You just say easier ways. The only time you would use more is if it is if it's an adjective that is three syllables on its own. So for example, we say more beautiful, right? Because beautiful is three syllables. But we would say prettier, okay? Because pretty is just two syllables. So it's superfluous to say this. We don't use more. So in much easier ways, and this is the case for handwriting. Now, here you could have continued with that sentence because here a traditional skill that some people believe is unnecessary explains what handwriting is, and that's fine. But here you absolutely needed a full stop, okay? And then you could say, personally, I strongly disagree with this point of view. Okay, now what you could have done to make your position even clearer is to say very briefly what your point of view is. So you could have said that, I think handwriting is, good handwriting is the mark of a person who cares about what he writes or shows respect for the person he's writing to, or whatever your view is going to be. But you could have been a little more specific about what your position is. You said that you disagree with the viewpoint, but like I said, you could have added another piece of information about this. Okay, let's move on. Nowadays, emerging software and hardware, such as computers, tablets, smartphones, dictating devices, and infinity. No, that's the wrong word. And we'll think about another word in a minute. Hold on. And something of the plethora would have been a good word here. And the plethora of online applications have enabled people to express ideas in writing without using the traditional method. Okay, here, I don't know what that noise was, sorry. Here it would have been nice if you had said what that traditional method is. You could have just said the traditional method of handwriting. It's a little more logical to say that because, you're leaving it to the person's interpretation what the traditional method is. These innovative developments not only can increase the speed of writing, but also can make communication much more efficient by almost eliminating misunderstandings due to indecipherable handwriting. For example, recent studies from the General Medical Council have revealed that over the last 20 years, the number of medical errors due to illegible handwriting has decreased by 65% as electronic communication has been implemented in hospitals and general practices. Thus, it is possible to state that handwriting is no longer needed under these circumstances. Oh, nice. I like this paragraph. Well done. Good. Although there could be a case for faster writing with technological aids, you want an S here, and even more effective communication, the relevance of learning traditional skills such as handwriting cannot be forgotten. Lovely. This is how you use this construction. Very nice. This is because handwriting, as many other abilities, are part of the human culture as they have been historically part of our societies, and what is more, comma, there is vast evidence that learning to write helps with cognitive development and prevents, S here, some neurological diseases such as dementia. This point of view has been echoed by a number of studies from Oxford and Cambridge University. They argue that people who learn to write at a younger age have 70% less probability of developing neurological disorders later on you need an in here, their lives. Therefore, handwriting is not only part of the human culture, but also is important for cognitive and neurological health. Also, very lovely. Here you had some grammatical errors, okay? You saw me correcting little things. Now, I can't remember what the score you need is. Is it an 8? I suspect it might be. If it's an 8, there are enough of these little grammatical errors that it's going to put you at kind of a disadvantage, okay? Because there were enough of them. There were little errors, but there were a handful of them that I had to correct throughout. But let's move on. Even if faster and more efficient written communication can be reached by using modern technology, handwriting is still part of our lives and is an important skill to be learned because not only is it a part of our cultures, but also it could prevent neurological diseases in the aging population. Okay, lovely. I really very much like this. I know that you're trying to write under exam conditions and you're doing a very good job in terms of your task achievement and in terms of your coherence and cohesion and even your vocabulary. I thought all of those things were well controlled. The only thing that I really want you to be careful of is the grammar. There were, like I said, if you're aiming for 7, I think you're doing extremely well. If you're aiming for an 8, I think you need to be a little more careful with your grammar. Like I said, I really don't entirely remember what score it is you need because, I've been away. So I liked what you wrote, though, very much. You did really, really very nicely. Okay. Let's take a look now about income on Facebook. All right. This is a simple line graph. So here you have to be very careful about how you, let's see. Yeah, I knew you wrote over 150 words. I could tell. Okay. So the line graph illustrates the amount of money earned by Facebook. Income of Facebook. Okay, fine. Over an 8-year period from 2007 to 2014, units are given in $1 million. All right, lovely. Fine. Overall, what is clear from the graph is that even if Facebook had a loss from 2007 to 2008, it didn't have a loss. It just started at a loss, but it didn't have a loss from there to there. All right, I understand what you're trying to say. Okay. Fine. Let's keep going. Its income increased steadily until 2011. After this, its profits decreased dramatically in 2012. From this year onward, the company's annual income boosted to reach its peak in 2014. Okay. What you've done here is you've given too much information for an overview. The overview is supposed to give you just the general overall sense of what the main trend is. Okay? So, in other words, you look at it briefly and then you move, you shift your eyes away. It's like, what do you remember? Was there a decrease or an increase? Was there a big increase or a little decrease? So that's the kind of thing you want to present in your overview. So for me, it's that the important thing to remember is that overall, throughout the period, Facebook increased its net income dramatically, I would say. Okay? So, because if you think about it, look where it started. It started at a negative, started at a loss, okay? And then it increased almost, $3 billion. Okay, so, oops, sorry. So that's the kind of thing you just want to mention. But again, you don't want to mention data and you don't want to go into too much detail. And that's kind of what I felt you did here in your overview. So just talk about the overall thing that's happening. It was an overall increase. It was an overall decrease. You could say despite a period of fluctuation, which is not even the case here. It's not fluctuation. It's just it had one decrease. So seriously, just overall, it increased. That's the important thing to remember. All right, let's move on. Looking at the details, comma, in 2007, Facebook, you don't want to say it had a loss. It began the period at a loss, because the way you said it, you even said it in your overview, I was just like, I was a little confused. Basically, you're saying that it started at a negative position in 2007. So it's fine to say that it began at a loss of this $1 million, and the following year, this figure decreased with a loss of only $56 million. Okay, that's fine. Not on. In the following years, the net income per year increased steadily. And by 2011, this social media had reached, let's see, yes, 100, okay, fine, $1 million of profit. All right, get rid of this figure and get rid of this. Look. So, approximately 4 times more than that of, let's see, the social media had reached this $1 million of profit, approximately 4 times more than the figure of 2009, because I got rid of this. Grammatically, it doesn't work. What you're really trying to say here is which was approximately 4 times more than, etc., etc. But this grammatically doesn't work, and I even simplified the sentence even more and just got rid of it completely and said approximately 4 times more than the figure of. You can't use than that because you're not referring to figure anywhere, because we got rid of it. All right, so some grammar things here. In 2012, Facebook's net income plummeted to 53 million USD. Okay. I don't like, again, that you have just one sentence here. You're covering basically 1/3 of the graph. And so I don't like that you just decided to do all of that in one sentence. You should have split it up. So here, full stop. The following year, comma, its net income rocketed and surpassed by $500 million, the profit made in 2011, and finally reached its peak at just under this in 2014. Okay, that's fine. I like some of the vocabulary you used. It's very appropriate. Task 1 vocabulary, like increased steadily, it plummeted, it rocketed. So all of that is very good. I like all of that. But again, there are some things that you need to work on a little bit. It's a good answer, but it's not an answer that is flawless. And so I'm trying to be as specific as possible to help you make this as flawless as possible. All right, I know you're working hard. I know you're trying to write all of these essays under exam conditions, and that's very good. That's very important. That's what you should be doing at this point, especially with your exam coming up in about 10 days or so. But we need you to work a little bit on some of these grammatical things, okay? So well done. I have to see which set of essays. I know there has been a little confusion about which essay set you're doing now. It looks like you finished the 9 essay pack, and I assume you're on the 8 essay pack. I have to look. I want to make sure that I get you a set of essays so that you can continue practicing. If I happen to send you the wrong set of essays, because as you know, I've been a little out of the loop the last couple of weeks, I apologize for that. So just be patient with us. We're trying to get you essays. We know that you're working hard. So well done. Good job. And let's see what you write for your next set. Okay. We'll be waiting for them. Good luck.